Hey everybody, this is Elias with the Truth Remains channel, and a friend of mine sent a screenshot of an article, and here it is. By Forbes, was the Facebook 10-year challenge a way to mine data for facial recognition AI, artificial intelligence? So this really piqued my curiosity, so I decided to go take a look at the article, and I had to do a video because I feel like this raises some concerns that everyone should know about. So let's take a look and see what it says. I picked a few highlights, so I'm just going to read my highlights, but I'll put links in the description so you can refer to this article and read for yourself. So it says Facebook has been working with facial recognition technology for the past few years with things like tagging photos and now recognizing photos you may be tagged in, even if you're not connected with the person who posted the photo on the social platform. So even if you do turn the feature off, your face still lives somewhere in the platform. Now, I have gone out with groups of people and like with one good friend, one best friend, and like the others are their friends of friends of friends. And I've been tagged in photos, but it was interesting to see on someone else's Facebook page how they've accepted the photo and it asked if it knew this person and it estimated who I was, and it really creeped me out because I wasn't connected to that person directly. So keep that in mind. Once your face is recognized, Facebook can find you. So let's continue. While the most likely scenario for Facebook to use this technology is targeted advertising and personalized experiences, since this is where their profit comes from, the concern is with how it could be used outside of Facebook if they were to sell or share this technology. Now, some years ago, I discovered that Facebook is in bed with the NSA. They allow the NSA to look at their servers whenever they like. It was a business deal of some type. So this is a real thing. The article goes on to say, this is not an unlikely case since both Amazon and Google have been caught sharing their technology. Google Photos use their technology to recognize not just people in the photos, but can categorize by objects in a photo. For instance, if you search car in your photos, it will bring up every image in your library that the algorithm recognized as having a car, even in the background. Amazon took some heat for the from the American Civil Liberties Union for selling facial recognition technology to the government, specifically law enforcement agencies such as police departments in Orlando and Washington County, Oregon. Side note, there are more law enforcement agencies than that. If you think about our military structure, it all kind of falls under that law enforcement umbrella, whether it's domestic or international. So here domestically, we have the police department, we have the sheriff, we have military, we have Coast Guard. So let your mind noodle on that for a minute. But let's continue. This could be a major concern for the privacy of citizens. The police could use the technology not only to track people who are suspect of having committed crimes, but also people who are not committing crimes, such as protesters and others whom the police deem a nuisance. So if you're some type of activist, you could be singled out somehow using this technology. Or, maybe if the police are bored or if we fall under martial law, they might just look for something to happen or create something to happen using your face. I'm sorry, I'm stretching out there, but the potential is huge for this. Forgive me for digressing. Let me go back to the article. A recent study said that the average American citizen is on camera for an average of 75 times per day, and each day the number grows for those that have facial recognition technology. This 75 times per day was highlighted. So let's go take a look at that article. This was very interesting. This website surveyed, it looks like the UK and the United States. So let's go to some highlights. They first did an estimation from the public. How often do you think you're surveilled on CCTV cameras? So most people, well, the most here, 54.5%, it's like about up to 4 people kind of think, yeah, it's about that much. And then the numbers decline the more people you ask. All the way down to like 35 to 39 people are thinking probably 8% of the time. Not much. That's what we think. This survey is based on people think. All right. Now let's go down to what we know. It doesn't have a survey for that, and I wish it did. But The article does go on to say that in Britain, there are more than 51,600 security CCTV cameras installed, which makes about 20% of the world's CCTV surveillance population. The world. So everyone else in the planet is kind of divvied up. It says in the past few years, more than, I don't know, I guess that's pounds, 515, I don't know what that European symbol is. Sorry, I'm not that educated. Millions spent on CCTV security cameras. In the United States, according to the Crime Statistics and Camera Report, which I have not verified, I don't know this organization, but it's worth looking into, I think. 95% of home security camera owners are satisfied with their security systems. Many of you are caught on camera about 70 times a day. 70 times, and that happens mostly in workplaces, shops, and other public places with surveillance cameras installed. So we don't have specifics on how many times we're actually caught on camera without our knowledge, but it's higher than what we think because those cameras are everywhere. Now, with facial recognition, it's just going to catch every face, and if someone can tap into that and extrapolate data, they can. There's a TV show about that, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'm going to look at. I think it's called Persons of Interest. And to me, I studied entertainment. I wanted to be an actor. I looked into TV. I learned film production and studied acting and whatnot. And usually, when they put something out in a movie, it's not completely fictional. Like there's some shred of truth that the creator found, and depending on what they're trying to form, make it really far out or pretty close to home. So let's continue. Let's just define what CCTV is. It's a closed circuit television, also known as video surveillance. And this is used in video cameras to transmit a signal to a specific place on a limited set of monitors. So that's a basic kind of DuckDuckGo search. But these are the pictures of them. So you can have these on your home, inside your home. By the way, that camera that's on your laptop that's looking right back at you, that can be used as a CCTV. They're not just outside, they're in your home. And that's just television. Think about sound and audio. If you have an Alexa or an Echo or Siri, it can also capture data. It just depends on who is able to hack and grab that data. And it's not hackers I'm worried about. I'm worried about larger organizations that will sell off the information or that can override jurisdiction and just tap into that information. So now, I've heard a lot of people, I've had this conversation before, and some people say, you know what, if you don't have anything to hide, what's the problem? And I used to be one of those people. I used to think that way. I used to think very idealistic because I trusted the police. I felt that they were out to, take care of us, and they had good intentions. And in recent years, I'm not seeing that in behavior or evidence. I'm not saying every individual person in law enforcement is out to get you or is bad. I'm saying the whole hierarchy has some holes in it because people do what they're told, and especially if you're the low guy on the totem pole. It's the big guys that make the decisions. Those are the ones in power, and those are the ones that can make the other guys do stuff. And this is where we need to be concerned. So let's look at this argument, I have nothing to hide. Now here in Wiki, I just did a quick Wiki. That's not the best source, but they usually have references down to other articles or books. So, and I'll leave links to all of this so you can check it out for yourself. But this is just something to consider. The nothing to hide argument states that government surveillance programs do not threaten privacy unless they uncover illegal activities, and that if they do uncover illegal activities, the person committing these activities does not have the right to keep them private. Hence, a person who favors this argument may state, I've got nothing to hide, and therefore does not express opposition to government surveillance. An individual using this argument may say that a person should not worry about government surveillance if he or she has nothing to hide. Now, I looked a little further down here, and this is where it gets interesting. Now, the argument for privacy. Edward Snowden went on to saying, arguing that you don't care about the right to privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different than saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. When you say, I have nothing to hide, you're saying, I don't care about this right. You're saying, I don't have this right because I've got to the point where I have to justify it. The way rights work is the government has to justify its intrusion on your rights. And there's some interesting people advocating for privacy here, even down to Julian Assange. And there's some other people that are arguing against it. And I'll leave a link for this if you want to check it all out. But the point that I want to make is that this is all sounding very 1984 to me. Did you ever read that book before when it came out or see the movie? Um, I recently rewatched it. And, you know, I mean, it's not filmed the way films are made now, so it may not be particularly eye-catching or thrilling or edited very well compared to standards now or compared to what we're used to. But it is worth a watch because it kind of shows once we get into that situation, what could happen when we let these little tiny allowances go by and we're like, you know what, I'm not going to worry about that. I'll pick and choose my battles. But if you pick and choose the wrong battle and you do that repeatedly, you're going to get a totalitarian environment, much like the movie is set in 1984. Do you really want people to just constantly watch you while you're working every move? Even at home. I mean, if you've ever watched this movie, you're going to see that these TVs are on and they're watching you sleep. They're watching you do everything. You cannot go anywhere without being seen 24/7. And this is concerning. We didn't have this when this movie came out. And now we're starting to have these CCTVs, the Siris, the Alexas, just offering up the opportunity for this to happen. Now, okay, maybe I'm getting a little excited here, but let's think about this. You have your computer on, that little camera is looking right at you. Who's to say that a hacker or the government wouldn't just start looking? Can you turn it off? Probably, but would you? It's just something to think about. I want us to think about if we give an inch, who is going to take the mile? And when they take the mile, is it going to be too late for us to reconsider this? So I want you to really think about these questions and these concepts that I'm throwing out there and weigh in for yourself. Really think about privacy and your privacy and your children's and maybe grandchildren's privacy. What is it going to be like? We've advanced so much since the early 1900s when we hit the industrial age to technology. In 100 years, we went from just starting up factories to this Apple computers and cell phones that we can have that aren't tethered to a wall. I mean, we've really come a long way. So what do you really think is going to happen in another 100 years? I mean, let your mind think about that. The decisions that we make now are going to shape that in the future. So anyway, leave a comment. I'm really curious to see what you all have to think about this. If you have something valuable to share or educate me on, please include that and let me know. Give me some sources because I'm here to learn too. But my main motivation for sharing this is because it just seemed a little bothersome and troublesome to be spied on all the time. I don't have anything to hide, but sometimes I like to walk around naked and I don't really want people to see me. I just kind of want to like let it all hang out. You know what I mean? Or sometimes I just want quiet. Sometimes I want to know that no one's around. That's why I go home and I'm not around people. But in a way, a camera or an audio device that is recording you or can hear you isn't really letting you be alone. And if you have something to say, marijuana is now legal in certain states, but it's not federally. So if you're talking about buying, selling, or something, if we happen to go to martial law, who's to say that they couldn't use that technology against you? There's so many things to think about that we do in our everyday lives. So just think about it. Like or don't like the video. I don't know, whatever you feel. Leave a comment if it's constructive. If it's not, I'm just going to delete it. I want to learn stuff, so help me learn some stuff here. And if you like what I have to share, just to kind of provoke some thoughts here, share it with other people. Tell people about my channel, and I will try to do another video next week. Thanks so much. Take care. This is Elias with Truth Remains.